StrayAllDay.com.
Now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. What is that? That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that's called work on your game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is your mental and emotional immune systems. Before we get into this, I'll remind everybody I send out a text message every single day, guaranteed to have you focused, sharp, and on point. I also send out one every week that does the same thing. I call these the daily and the Monday motivations, respectively. You can get both of these text messages by being a member of my text community. All you got to do is join the community. It's free of charge. Just text me at my number 305-384-6894. And we'll tell you what your options are for which messages you want to receive as soon as you text me and join the text community. Second, workonyourgameuniversity.com. That is the only place that I do any coaching. We have a 4-part framework that is based on mindset, strategy, systems, and accountability. If you would like to work with me directly, if you would like to have me as your coach, if you know that one of or two or three or four of those areas are areas where you need help right now when it comes to your business or your personal development, professional or personal development, go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. You can schedule a time to get on a call with us free of charge. We call that a game session. Talk about where you're at, where you want to go. If we think we can help you and we think you'd be a good fit, we'll tell you what it looks like and how it works. Again, that's all at workonyourgameuniversity.com. So with all that out the way, let's get into today's topic, which is, again, your mental and emotional immune systems. Now, definition of an immune system is a network of biological systems that protects an organism from diseases, at least according to Wikipedia. So we know about the immune system when it comes to the physical body and the general idea of how it works, right? The whole point of the immune system is that you are not avoiding any and all possible germs and possible nasty stuff that could get into your system. Is that the immune system exists so that when harmful germs or nasty stuff comes into your system, whether you eat it, whether you breathe it in, whether you drink it, whether it gets in through some other opening in your body, however something comes into your body that's not supposed to be there, the immune system's job is to fight it and get it out of there. Or basically it's called that. Just fight it, get it out of there. That's how the immune system works with the body. Now, today I'm going to analogize that system with the type of immune system that you need when it comes to what's going on in your mind, what's going on in your heart emotionally. All right, that's what we're going to talk about here today. How you can create a mental and emotional immune system, the same way that you already have as standard, comes standard with the equipment, a physical immune system. Let's talk about it. Point number one. Topic once again is today your mental and emotional immune systems. Number one, mental toughness is your security guard. Mental toughness is your head of security. If you saw the Michael Jordan / Chicago Bulls Last Dance documentary that came out a couple years ago, which you can probably find today on ESPN or Netflix, Michael Jordan, as he became so famous, at least the last few years of his career, he had, with the Chicago Bulls at least, he had a cohort of security guards that basically were around him and with him everywhere he went. And Michael Jordan was so famous and so shielded off from the rest of the world that he spent more time with his security guards than he did with anybody. And there was 3 of them. There were 3 guys who were basically Michael Jordan's personal security detail. And everywhere Michael Jordan went, these guys were with him, at home, on the road, everywhere. These guys, that was just their job. Follow Michael Jordan around and be his security. Now, you may not have a personal security guard, but your mental toughness is your mental security guard. Now, in episode number 2007, I told you how mental health and mental toughness are not diametrically opposed. They actually work together. Your mental toughness is the security system that protects your overall human condition, also known as your mental health. So everyone has some type of mental health status or situation, I guess, if you want to call it that, because just your overall condition. Or where are you at? Now, if you're happy, that's part of your mental health. If you're content, that's your mental health. You're frustrated, annoyed, angry, tired, that is all part of your mental health. It's the condition that you're in right now. That is just your overall health state. Same way that there's a physical health. Your physical health is, my leg hurts, or my knee's been bothering me. I feel pretty good. My stomach is hurting. I got a headache. All right, that's part of your physical condition. Same way you have a mental condition. And mental toughness, again, as I describe in every episode of the show, is your willingness to continue being disciplined and confident even though the success you have expected to achieve has yet to be achieved, when success is late to the party. Some people may refer to this that I just described. Some people could call this persistence, stick-to-itiveness, tenacity, diligence, other terms. In this context, you can use them interchangeably. They all pretty much mean the same thing. It means staying the course and continuing to show up and doing your thing, even though doing your thing has not yet produced the desired result. Mental toughness is all about protecting the most precious beliefs in your mind from the potential nastiness of the outside world. Let me say that again. Mental toughness is all about protecting the most precious beliefs in your mind from the potential nastiness of the outside world. And the thing is, the outside world in general is not nasty, at least not in the world that most of us occupy. But there are some nasty things that could come in there if you leave the doors open. Right? If you don't protect what you got going on, then some things from the outside world could come in and infiltrate your world. So since you don't control what's going on in the outside world, you don't control other people, you don't control who's having a good day or a bad day, you don't control circumstance most of the time. Since you don't control a lot of the outside world, your mental toughness is your number one priority and the only thing that you do control. It's the only thing that you can keep, only thing that you can have domain over, while all the other things of the world are going on around you that you can't start or stop or control, even if you wanted to most of the time. You can influence, but you can't control. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is your mental and emotional immune systems. Number 2, get clear on who you are and what you're about. Who you are and what you're about. Why does this matter? And what does this have to do with your mental and emotional immune systems, most importantly? This matters because the outside world will offer many challenges to the ideas that you may have about yourself and what you may think you are capable of. The outside world is going to challenge you a lot. And you need to be prepared, i.e. doing your homework, as we talked about in episode 1925, to respond, even if your response is not verbal or physical, but your response can just be how you choose to look at yourself and how you choose to feel about any circumstance in which the outside world challenges the beliefs that you have about yourself. I'll give you a personal example. If you've know anything about my story, you know I tried out for my high school basketball team every year that I was in high school. High school is 4 years for most of us. And during those 4 years, I did not make the team any of the first 3 attempts. I only made the team my last attempt as a senior. And even then, after making the team as a senior, I didn't really play. I sat on the bench for the majority of that season. So that was, if you're paying attention here, that was the outside world challenging my belief about my potential as a basketball player, because I thought my potential was, by that point, by the time I got to about age 16, I was thinking that maybe I can become a professional player. And this was a completely delusional idea, logically speaking, because when I was 16, I was a junior in high school and I wasn't on the team. I wasn't even on my high school team. I'm talking about I'm going to be a pro basketball player. It doesn't make any sense. So the outside world was offering a lot of doses of reality, so to speak, and face slaps, metaphorically. And I heard it from actual people, many of my peers, like, oh, you're doing all that practicing and talking like you're going to be something in basketball, but look at your results. That's not, they didn't say it in so many words, but that's what they were saying. Look at your results. You don't really have any. So the outside world was challenging me a lot about these beliefs that I had about myself, about what I could be, about who I was at the moment, and what I was capable of moving forward. And I needed to have a strong enough mental and emotional immune system to hear what other people were saying, but not listen to what they were saying. The difference between hearing and listening is hearing is just a registration of a sound. Listening is when you're taking it in and allowing it to marinate and build and germinate in your mind, whatever it is that comes in. So hopefully you are listening to what you take in here on the Work on Your Game Masterclass. But when it comes to someone being nasty or trying to tear you down or make you feel worse about yourself, hopefully with those people, you are just listening and maybe not even listening. All right. So the whole point is, the more clear you are on who you are and what you're about, and the more, what's the word here? The more convicted you are about it, the less what anybody else has to say will matter and or affect you. If you think, for example, you're going to play in the NFL, but you're on your high school football team and you just got demoted from the second string to the third string, well, that's a serious challenge to this goal that you have of playing in the NFL. So the question is, do you have a strong enough immune system to accept the fact that reality says you got demoted on your high school team? That did happen. Just like I accepted the fact that I was sitting on the bench in high school my senior year. Well, at the same time, maintaining the idea that you're still going to go where you want to go. So even though I was sitting on the bench in high school as a senior, as an 18-year-old senior, I still had the idea in my mind that I was going to become a professional athlete. And by the age of 23, I did exactly that. But the whole thing is, had I allowed the reality of the situation, you're sitting on the bench in high school, or the quote unquote facts that were being thrown at me by peers who were either trying to ridicule or basically just talk shit, like, hey, you're not doing anything in basketball, but you're always practicing and playing and stuff like that. Had I allowed that to overpower the idea and belief I had about myself, then I would not have made it. So this sounds very easy, but it's not easy at all. As a matter of fact, it's the main reason why many people fail, because many people don't have this ability. This is the reason why in Work on Your Game University, the first thing that we help install for everyone who comes into our world is what we call the bulletproof mindset. That is the mentality that is about these elements we talk about here on this show every day: discipline, confidence, mental toughness, personal initiative. It's also about communication, how you communicate with yourself, how you communicate with the outside world. It's about leadership, leading yourself, then leading other people. It's about dealing with the inevitable challenges that will come from the outside, the inevitable challenges that come from the inside, because many of us have a bunch of negative thoughts in our own minds that are much more damaging to our success than anything that anybody else can say or do. So these are all things we got to protect ourselves against. As a matter of fact, again, it's the main reason why many people come up short. They have a certain idea of who they are and what they're about, but when that idea meets with the outside world and there's conflict between what you thought you were and what the world is showing you, that person's immune system is not strong enough to deal with the infection, so to speak. So you think you're going to play in the NFL, and then you go to your high school team and you get your ass dragged around on the field for the first week. You're like, damn, maybe I'm not going to play in the NFL anymore. Now, that self-defeating thought is the most damaging thing to your future. There's nothing that nobody else can say or do to you that is more damaging than you thinking that to yourself. Whether, again, those outside challenges, they could be people, they could be circumstances. You must be prepared to deal with this before it happens. So often it's both. It's people and circumstances. It could be people who say and do things to you, and those same people could lead to certain circumstances in your life. Right? So you got a coach who you think doesn't want you on the team, then therefore they cut you and you're not on the team. So that was a person, the coach, and the circumstance. The fact you're not on the team. Both of them could be attacking you at the same time. You're getting double teamed by them. Do you have the mental toughness to stay the course despite the fact that these things have happened, despite the truth that is being thrown in your face? And sometimes the truth is just the truth. It's just the thing. When I wasn't on my team as a high school, even in college, when a new coach came in and I ended up not being on the team, the reality of the situation, I did have to respect the reality of the situation. At the same time, my mindset and my vision about where I would go from there needed to be stronger than the reality of the situation that was in front of me. All of us need this ability. And you got to be prepared to deal with these things before they happen so that when they happen, you're already ready for it. You don't want to be scrambling to figure this out when it happens. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is your mental and emotional immune systems. Number 3, you need a clear vision and clear goals. Notice that the word clear has come up a lot here today. We talked about this in, first of all, we're talking about your mental security guard, but in the second point, get clear on who you are and what you're about. Now we're talking about getting clear on where you want to go and what's your process going to be for getting there. This is directly connected to point number 2. Are you clear on exactly where you want to go and exactly what you want to achieve? And when I say exactly, I mean exactly. Interestingly enough, most people, even very hardworking individuals, diligent, hardworking individuals, are not clear on exactly where they want to go and exactly what they want to achieve. Let me tell you one quick way to get clear on exactly where you want to go and exactly what you want to achieve. For those of you who've never done it before, write it down. Grab a pen and paper or open up a document on your phone or your computer and start writing down exactly what you want to achieve and exactly where you want to be. A year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, your whole lifetime. You need to have these things written down, folks. Why? Because writing them down gets them out of your head and it creates space in your brain for your brain to produce more ideas. When you write things down, you try to hold everything in your head, your brain is eventually going to delete something that you wanted to keep. But since you never wrote it down, when your brain says, okay, we got to push this out because we got a capacity issue. So are you clear on exactly where you want to go and what you want to achieve? Because there'll be many times that you are thrown off course and circumstances and people conspire to throw you off track, whether intentionally or indirectly. Most of the time, though, things happen just because they happen, not because somebody's trying to slow you down. Most of the time, if somebody does something that happens to slow you down, it's not because they were trying to sabotage you. Most of the time, they're just doing whatever matters to and for them, and it happened to clash with what matters to and for you. And you also have to remember that every human on this planet, including yourself, we all have our own personal agendas, which often have nothing to do with anybody else's agenda. And if your agenda happens to cross paths with my agenda and they clash, it's not because I'm trying to hate on you. It's not because you're trying to hate on me. It's because we just happen to be in the same place at the same time. But I'm trying to reach my goals. You're trying to reach yours. We're not doing this because we're trying to stop each other. We're doing it because we're trying to do our things for ourselves. And again, we just happen to cross paths. But it's not because somebody's aiming for or targeting you. This is why, folks, you got to have a clear vision and a clear goal for what you want. Your visions and goals need to be extremely clear. And you need to make sure that you are taking actions to secure your desired outcomes. Again, doing your homework, securing your desired outcomes, regardless of what other people are doing or thinking, or regardless of what other people are not doing and not thinking. All right, so you put out a product, nobody's buying it. All right, so they're not doing the thing you want them to do. Maybe they're not even considering buying this and not even thinking about the thing that you want to think about. Do you have a clear enough vision and clear enough goal that you can deal with the setback of putting out this product that doesn't sell, while at the same time staying focused on, all right, my overall aim here is to reach the goal, not necessarily that I had to do it, this particular way. So I can do it another way. You happen to you go on Shark Tank to get an investment for your company, and all the sharks pass on your opportunity. Doesn't mean you can't still get an investment. You might not get it from one of the sharks, but they're the only investors in the world, right? So sometimes your clear vision and goal will be challenged, and depending on how big your clear vision and goals are, they will be challenged. They will be challenged extremely. You got to just make sure that you're taking the right actions that secure your desired outcomes, regardless of what other people, again, are doing or thinking or not doing and not thinking. You got to take ownership of your situation. And the more ownership you take, the more responsibility you have. The more responsibility you take, the more power you have. With all that said, let's recap today's class, which is your mental and emotional immune systems. The definition of an immune system is it is a network of biological systems that protects an organism from diseases. So now let's talk about the mental side of this. Number one, mental toughness is your security guard. Mental toughness steps up and fights the battles that the mental health does not need to fight. So mental toughness is your willingness to continue, being disciplined and confident, even though the success you have expect to achieve has yet to be achieved. Number two, you're clear on who you are and what you're about. The outside world is going to challenge your self-image, is going to challenge your goals, is going to challenge anything it sees in you that even looks like you're trying to go somewhere above and beyond the average. And since most people are average, you will draw their attention and they will do whatever they can do mentally and emotionally to try to keep you where they are. Not because they're trying to hate, again, not because they want you to fail, simply because they want company. They want people around them who are like them, and they don't want someone showing that they have much bigger ambitions than they do, because what that will make them like jerks, make them like assholes. Okay, you got much bigger ambitions than me. Your ambition is 10 times bigger than mine, but we're here in the same place right now. So that person will try to do whatever they can to keep you back there with them rather than moving forward where you belong. So this is why you got to be prepared. This is why having clear goals and clear visions matters, because it allows you to push through the inertia of averageness that surrounds all of us. Number three, clear vision and goals. This is directly related to what we just talked about in point number two. Are you clear on exactly where you want to go and exactly what you want to achieve? There'll be many times you're thrown off course. Circumstances and people conspire to throw you off track, whether indirectionally or intentionally, rather, or indirectly. Most of the time, again, things happen just because they happen, not because somebody's hunting you down and trying to target you, even though, again, our weak emotions may make us believe that that's the case. That's usually not the case. This is why you got to have a clear vision and clear goal for what you want. Make sure you are taking actions that secure your desired outcomes, regardless of what other people think or do, regardless of what they don't think or they don't do. All that said, text me so you can join my text community for free. My number is 305-384-6894. I send out the daily motivation every day, Monday motivation every Monday. Just text me and we'll tell you what your options are from there. It's free of charge. Secondly, workonyourgameuniversity.com. That's the only place I do any training. It's the only place I do any coaching. We have a 4-part framework based on mindset, strategy, systems, and accountability. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. You can get familiar, find out what we're about, schedule a call if you like. Again, workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre